UFC 312 is going down this weekend, man. Today I'm about to give my predictions and break down the whole entire card. If you want to tune into my live stream, I will be live streaming my reactions to the fights, as well as maybe dropping some live bets. And I'll be live right when the first prelim starts. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, man. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark pretty soon here. But anyways, let's get right into this card. It's an underrated card, I will say. Maybe not the biggest names, but you know, that's what happens when you go to Australia. Nobody wants to fight there. Anyways, first fight up is going to be Hyunsung Park taking on Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. Hard name to say there. I got it right, though, I think. Now, Hyunsung Park is coming in at the favorite, I believe, at minus 220. I will tell you now, I'm a Hyunsung Park fan. I don't like that number, okay? Because, one, I've seen Hyunsung Park cracked before. I've seen him dropped before. And I don't know how good his durability is. And a guy like Nyamjargal does hit hard. He poses a threat, a danger threat. The dude likes to fight, and he is fucking dangerous. I'll leave it at that. But when you look at both skill sets, Hyunsung Park is the more complete fighter, right? He has very crisp hands, crisp boxing. He hits hard. His boxing's really, really nice, man. He's one of my favorite up-and-coming flyweights, definitely. I love the hands he's got. He's got nasty combinations. He works the body well. He's got quick, great technique on his boxing. But not only that, he does have a good ground game. He has a lot of rear naked chokes, and he's very good at getting your back. Now, I do believe that he is the smaller guy. As you can see, the reach here is a little bit of a factor, and I do believe he's maybe a little bit smaller in terms of height, and I think that Nyamjargal's stronger, right? But Hyunsung Park has the ability to extend fights. He has good cardio. He is a guy who has a complete skill set, and I do expect him to win this fight. But Nyamjargal is dangerous. He's very dangerous. When you look at him, they both have one similar opponent, a Muay Thai guy. I can't remember his name. He's been on the road to the UFC a couple times, but he's a Muay Thai guy from Thailand who has a lot of experience in, Muay Thai, right? So he's a striker. Nyamjargal was getting taken down by that guy and controlled for long, long periods of time, and he ended up getting the nod in that fight, which I thought he lost. But basically, that's how he's in the UFC. But what the guy brings is, one, he is durable. He's very durable. He likes to fight. And what I mean by that is he smiles at you when you hit him, right? He's one of those guys. He's not the most technical. He is a little bit sloppy on the feet. He overextends a lot. But if he connects, he hits hard as hell, right? He is coming off a loss to Carlos Hernandez, where I did pick Carlos Hernandez, and I did expect him to get it done because of the grappling, right? The wrestling and his cardio. And Nyamjargal showed some good things there. Showed how dangerous he is and how willing he is to come forward. Now, he's not only a dangerous striker, he is a dangerous grappler, right? He has submissions on the mat. He does have submissions on the mat. He's aggressive with them, and they're dangerous. Simple as that. He is a dangerous fighter. And sitting at minus 220, Hyunsung Park, he's my boy. I don't like it. But as the fight goes on, Park should be able to control him. Now, honestly, if you are wanting a good little play to, play, Nyamjargal in the first round seems to be, something that I could definitely see happening. But other than that, I don't think he'd get the nod in a decision because I think that Park is a very good grappler. And if he gets Nyamjargal's back, he will strangle him and choke him out. So the safer guy is going to be Hyunsung Park. I do not mind, taking a shot on Nyamjargal. And he was a bigger underdog before then, and he's dropped a little bit. And understandably, he's dangerous. So overall, I am going to go with Hyunsung Park to win this fight. I think he gets a rear naked choke in round 3 or 2. Probably looking at a fight to end by submission in this one as well. But we'll see what happens. I am going to go with Hyunsung Park to win this fight. Next up, the debut of Quillan Salkilld, and he's taking on Anshul Jubli. Now, Quillan Salkilld is a huge favorite. As you can see, he's minus 650. He was minus 425 at one point, I believe, last week. And he's gone all the way up to a minus 250 or 600 favorite. I don't know why he has Road to UFC shorts on. He's never been to the Road to the UFC, so a little bit concerning there from the UFC team. I don't know what this is, but I like Quillan Salkilld a lot. I really, really like him, man. And I usually don't say that about guys that are just, making their debut, but he's a guy who's on my top 10, prospects to look out for that won on Dana White Contender Series this year. and the guy's good. He fought a really good fighter in Gage Young in his debut, and came out on top in that fight, and he's shown some nasty things, okay? I have a clip on Twitter of him, shooting or catching a kick, throwing a body shot, and slipping into a double leg takedown. Just beautiful work. When you look at his skill set, it's very, very complete. I believe he trains with Cody Haddon, and these two guys are coming up, man. They're very, very good. As you can see from Cody Haddon's skill set, he's a beast. Who got pulled off this card. He pulled out of the fight. He was supposed to take on Topuria, and I would expect him to win that fight, but they both train together, and it shows. Both guys have extremely good boxing, very good technique. They work the body, they go up top, and they hit hard, right? Quillan Salkilld is a big lightweight as well. As you can see, he's going to have a big reach advantage here. He's a guy who can mix in the wrestling, and he can mix in the striking. He's a very good kicker. He's looking like he's going to be a top 15 guy, in my opinion. I really, really like what I see out of this dude. Even from his regional fights, he's a very complete fighter, and I'm very excited to see him fight. He takes on Anshul Jubli. Now, I don't like these odds, okay? Because I don't think Anshul Jubli isn't, he's not that bad, right? I don't think he should be minus or plus 450, whatever he is. I don't agree with that. But he's outmatched here. I will say that. Anshul Jubli's not a bad fighter, right? You can see he's 7-1, but losing to Mike Breeden is going to make, drop some stock because Mike Breeden is not a good fighter by any means. And Anshul Jubli was controlling that fight early on. He looked good, right? One thing about Jubli, he is a good fighter. He's balanced. I don't think he likes to get hit, okay? And you know what I mean by that is whenever he gets hit, there's weird reactions, right? And Salkilld is a guy who will bring that. He will take one to give one, and he's from what I've seen, durable enough to take a shot from a guy like Anshul Jubli. I believe that Salkild's a bigger guy here, and when it comes to the wrestling, the grappling side of things, I would give Salkilld the better, more advantage in terms of the wrestling. But Jubli is a good grappler himself, but I think that on the feet, Salkilld is going to be a guy who lands harder shots. And Jubli's not bad on the feet. He's got a good right hand. He is pretty quick. He faded in his last fight versus Breeden. I really, guys, I actually don't like these odds because when I watch Jubli, I don't think he's that bad. But I got to go with my gut here. And Salkilld, man, I've really liked what I've seen out of this guy. And I do think that overall he's a better striker. The kicks are going to play dividends here. And the hands on this dude are great. His combinations, his boxing is fantastic. Great technique. I really like Quillan Salkilld, and I'm going to pick him to win this fight via KO. Next fight up. Jonathan Micallef versus Kevin Jousset. Jonathan Micallef, another guy coming off the Contender Series, and I'm not too high on him. I don't think he's that good of a fighter. He does have a long reach. He is a southpaw, and he does kind of have that style of a guy, I don't want to say like Brian Battle, but kind of, right? He wants to get you down to the mat, and when he's there, he's a solid grappler. He's a very solid grappler, actually, and he does kind of have that smothering style of pushing you on the fence, taking you down, trying to take you down, but he relies on it way, way too much, right? He doesn't really believe in himself on the feet from what I've seen, and he's not great on the feet. Now, I would expect him in this fight to bring it to Kevin Jousset because we just saw Kevin Jousset kind of get broken by Brian Battle with the pressure, with all that. And the thing about Kevin Jousset is, yes, he can be broken with that, but Brian Battle did an extremely good job, and Brian Battle's a lot better than Jonathan Micallef. I kind of don't know if Jonathan Micallef is UFC level, right? And I know that Jousset is UFC level, right? Jousset, very good at range, very good calf kicks, great jab, and he is going to be the much, much better striker, and I don't expect Micallef to get him to the mat here. And Micallef has been finished before, TKO'd before. When Micallef tries to get into that clinch, Jousset's got an extensive judo background. I would expect Jousset to throw him off of him and land on top of him. And I do think Micallef is dangerous off his back, so that's something interesting. But overall, man, I just don't know too much about Micallef. I've watched him, haven't been too impressed with him. I just got to go with Jousset here. I think he's a much, much better striker. And obviously there's a lot of holes showed in his last fight, and I'd expect Micallef to try to come with that approach. I just think Jousset is just too good to lose to this guy, to be honest with you. And outstrike him on the feet, land calf kicks, land his jab, land his straight. And if it gets to that clinch position, I do believe that he will be able to throw Micallef and land on top. And I don't know if Micallef can get him down, honestly. But it's an interesting fight. Definitely not a fight I'm interested in putting money in, because we just saw a guy like Brian Battle go out there and dominate Jousset pretty much, and Micallef can kind of emulate that game plan a little bit. I just don't think he's nearly as good as Battle, so probably a fight I'll stay away from, but I am going to pick Kevin Jousset, I want to say via TKO, round 3, round 2, so I'm going to go with Jousset. Next up, Cody Steele, another guy who's debuting. Now, Cody Steele's got a ton of grappling experience. You know, he's apparently this insane BJJ guy. I'm not big on him, and I think that Rong Zhu is going to smoke him. Now, this is an interesting one because Rong Zhu is an underdog here. He is an underdog, and way too big of an underdog. Rong Zhu is young, right? He's got a ton of experience in MMA, and throughout all these fights, he's never been TKO'd or never been finished. Now, he got a doctor stoppage versus Chris Padilla. He wasn't dazed or hurt, and the guy is dangerous. He's very, very dangerous. Now, the grappling side of things, I would give Cody Steele the advantage, right? But I don't really see Cody Steele getting people to the mat that often. Even in his debut fight, he likes to pressure, he likes to come forward. That's what Rong Zhu likes to do. Rong Zhu is not going to, feed into the Cody Steele, oh, he's an insane grappler. Rong Zhu's going to come forward, right? He doesn't care. And, some things about these, Asian fighters is they don't really have great defense. And that's true for Rong Zhu. He doesn't have the best defense, but the dude is fast on the feet. And he is dangerous, and he hits like a truck. I don't think Steele's good enough. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think that Rong Zhu is going to beat Cody Steele. And I know a lot of people are high on Cody Steele. I don't think I am. And I think that Rong Zhu coming forward, landing hard shots, he's got a speed advantage. He's longer. He's more dangerous on the feet. And, dude, this guy was defending takedowns from a guy on Japan national team wrestling, right? And he defended like 20 of them. It was crazy. He has very good takedown defense. Very, very good takedown defense. That's something he's improved on. And he has been submitted in the past. So a way I could see Cody Steele going out there and winning is maybe jumping on Rong Zhu's back, right? I don't really see him being able to take him down because Cody Steele can't really get regional guys down. Let alone, do I think he'd get Rong Zhu down? Absolutely not. I don't think so. And Cody Steele's actually a pretty good striker. He trains out of Syndicate, and I definitely like him training there. But I don't, he's supposed to be this insane grappler. He's only got one submission on his resume, and he doesn't really get these guys down to the mat that often. He's got pretty good cardio. So does Rong Zhu. I think that Rong Zhu poses the danger in this fight, and I like that danger. And I'm going with him to win this fight. I think he has the bigger moments, and I think he's going to shut Cody Steele and put his lights out. I think he's going to beat his ass. We got an underdog here, man. I'm willing to maybe put some money on Rong Zhu as well. I can't get behind this number for Steele. No way. I've seen him get hit. I've seen him get rocked on the regional scene. Rong Zhu possesses a lot of danger. And this guy was, he's looking good, right? Onto the road to UFC. He's fought some stiff competition and just beat the hell out of everybody. He found his way back into the UFC. He's only 25 or 24 years old. Loads of experience. He's durable. He's, got great pressure. And he's fucking dangerous. And I like him to win this fight over Cody Steele. I think this is a fight where I'm very high on Rong Zhu to win. I could see Steele hopping on the back, like I said, getting a choke. But other than that, man, I'm all over Rong Zhu to win this fight. I think he's more dangerous, more output, and he's not going to just let Cody Steele put him on the back foot like Cody Steele just pressures everybody. Rong Zhu's not backing up, right? Rong Zhu's going to be in his face. He's got great hips. I expect him to come out here, whoop Cody Steele's ass. Next up, we got two debut guys. The debut of Aleksandre Topuria. Now, Aleksandre Topuria is lucky that Cody hadn't pulled out because he was not winning that fight. I'm going to be honest with y'all. He's taking on Colby Thicknesse. Colby Thicknesse is a little bit small for the division, and this is a fight where I have questions on in general, right? I'm not ever going to put money on this, and I don't know what the odds are. Topuria is minus 370, and I would kind of imagine that. And the reason I was definitely not going to go with Topuria against Cody Haddon is, one, the dude hasn't fought in forever. Topuria hasn't. He doesn't have any UFC experience, right? First time under the big lights. And now he's taking on Colby Thicknesse, who is debuting, short notice, under the big lights. And it's a spot where I am going to go with Aleksandre Topuria. Obviously, the guy hasn't fought that much, and he does have losses on his resume. But I like what I've seen. His style is very similar to Ilya's. Obviously, I don't think he's as good And I think as the fight goes on, if Aleksandre Topuria can't get Thicknesse out of there, I think that, Thicknesse can have some success because I like his cardio. But overall, the bigger guy, the stronger guy is going to be Topuria, be able to get Thicknesse to the mat. And he is the guy who hits harder on the feet. Thicknesse has some tricky, unorthodox striking. I just expect Aleksandre Topuria to come out here and win this fight. Definitely not a fight I'm interested in terms of betting for sure. Too many questions here, but I am going to go with Aleksandre Topuria for my pick. I'm going to go via finish. Next up, we got Wang Cong taking on Bruna Brasil. Now, Bruna Brasil is moving up a weight class for some reason after coming off a win against Molly McCann. I'm going to be honest with y'all, she's outmatched here. Wang Cong should win this fight. I'm going to pick her to win this fight. Bruna Brasil, obviously a fighting nerd. She's an okay kickboxer. She does have accolades in kickboxing. I just think Wang Cong is better. Wang Cong hits harder. She's a better boxer in general. She's a better kickboxer in general. She's got loads of, power in her punches, and she was looking really good against Gabriela Fernandez and on her way to easily winning a decision versus Gabriela Fernandez, who is a big flyweight. And, Gabriela Fernandez is not a bad striker at all. And Gabriela Fernandez was really only having trouble with the grappling up until, this fight versus Wang Cong, because she was beating people on the feet. And then she kind of got wrestled and she wasn't doing good there. And that's why she was coming off 2 losses and such a big underdog versus Wang Cong. And that was, very intimate that Gabriela Fernandez could win that fight, and she ended up winning. Now Wang Cong takes on Bruna Brasil, who's probably not going to wrestle. And Wang Kong's going to get this one done. She's better on the feet. Bruna Brasil's not bad on the feet, but she can be outstruck. She's been knocked out by Nancy Gomes, I believe, and she did lose to, I can't remember the other one. Not big on WMMA, by the way. But to be honest, Wang Cong's going to win this fight. She's got to win it, and she's the better fighter here. I'm going with her to win via decision. Oh, man. We got an absolute car crash of a fight. Tom Nolan taking on Viacheslav Borshchev. Man, I like Tom Nolan. I've liked him since he, came to the UFC up the Contender Series. His debut, he got knocked out by Nicholas Mata. And that's been kind of the story of Tom Nolan, right? He doesn't have good defense. He's aggressive. He's dangerous. And not only does he have bad defense, his durability is not good, right? He's been rocked in every single fight. I mean, I can't even remember. Alex Reyes was the one who rocked him at one point. He has no power. Who else was it? Victor Martinez, I think his name was, dropped Tom Nolan. And then obviously Mata finished him. Now he's taking on Viacheslav, who actually, you're looking at a close fight in terms of the odds here, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, because when you look at these guys' skill sets, Viacheslav can find the mark. That's what I'm going to say here. Now, Tom Nolan is dangerous, and Viacheslav is chinny. Both these guys have bad durability, and I'm looking at the under 1.5 and, licking my lips, right? Because it's very intriguing, right? Nolan can finish Viacheslav, and Viacheslav can absolutely finish Nolan. But Viacheslav is smaller here. But, man, I just, when you look at Viacheslav, it's hard to pick against the guy if you're not going to take him down. And I don't think Tom Nolan has any, I don't think he has any intention of taking Viacheslav Borshchev down. And I think that's going to be the downfall, right? I think Viacheslav's going to go to that body, going to come up top and knock Tom Nolan out. I like Tom Nolan. He's 6'3", he's dangerous, he has good step-in knees. I absolutely can see him finishing this fight, but I can see Viacheslav finishing this fight easier, right? I think Viacheslav gets inside of that pocket, and Nolan inside the pocket, when you go to that body, his hands drop. And Viacheslav's very good at doing that. I think it's a bad matchup for Nolan. And it's a spot where I might be willing to put money on Viacheslav because I do think that he is the guy who is cleaner. He has better defense. He is obviously chinny as hell. But I think that, his slip and rips are unbelievable. He's a very, very good striker. And I think that Nolan makes too many mistakes. He's overly aggressive. He goes in for the kill way, way too much. And Borshchev's going to find the mark with one of those shots, and I think he's going to put Nolan out. So it's a fight where, honestly, I wouldn't have thought I would have put money, but the odds are too close, right? I think that Viacheslav should be a favorite, but I think he should be a little bit higher than this. And Nolan has not fought anybody good overall. I mean, Mata's not a good fighter. You know what I mean? And Mata was catching the mark every single time. And even Nolan, I think, he's going to make adjustments every single fight. He doesn't do it. I think he's pretty good from the outside with that front kick. I just see Viacheslav getting in there, using the calf kicks, getting in the pocket and landing the shot and knocking Tom Nolan out. But it is a fight where I can see Nolan getting the finish as well. But I am going to go with Viacheslav Borshchev to get this one done via KO. Next up, man, I love this fight. Jack Jenkins taking on Gabriel Santos. Now, there's going to be a lot of people on Jack Jenkins because he's an underdog and a lot of people know him. He does have the better record in the UFC. Gabriel Santos is a monster. He is a monster. Now, he took on Yehiza in his last fight, who Yehiza is a good fighter, and I think Yehiza could beat Jack Jenkins. Gabriel Santos, he's fought Lerone Murphy, went to a split decision with Lerone Murphy, and I thought he actually won the fight, but it was close. I will give it to him. Then he takes on David Onama and was beating David Onama's ass, taking him down, rocking him on the feet, and kind of gassed out and got finished in that fight. Now, the issues with Gabriel Santos has always been that gas tank, and he showed last time out versus Yehiza that it's not a problem anymore because he absolutely dominated Yehiza. And like I said before, Yehiza is a good fighter, and I'm actually pretty high on him. And Santos came out there and destroyed him, landed a nasty front kick to knock him down. And a thing about Santos is he's a very capable striker. And on top of that, he can wrestle, and he will wrestle and mix in those takedowns. He's a better athlete here. I just think Santos is very, very good, man. And Jenkins, I think Santos would finish Herbert Burns in 5, maybe 10, maybe a minute and a half, maybe. Jack Jenkins didn't finish him till 3 rounds in. And Jack Jenkins, he's a good fighter. He's got good takedown defense. He's got pretty good boxing, very good leg kicks, of course. Santos is coming from shoot box, man. He's going to be ready for all that, right? He's going to be ready for the leg kicks. He's not going to have a problem checking him. He's a guy who can switch stances. He's got dynamic kicking. He's dynamic. He's bigger. And another thing about Jenkins, he's a little bit low volume. He kind of sits there and stares at people. And, he beat Jamal Emmers. Beat him. He didn't beat Jamal Emmers. He actually lost to Jamal Emmers. I think Santos is a very, very good fighter, and I would expect Santos to be in the top 15, especially off that last performance, man. If you're looking at both guys' last performance and, where Yehiza is compared to, Herbert Burns, Santos dominated Yehiza. It was an incredible performance. I'm very excited to see what this guy can bring to the table, and I think he's got a matchup in Jenkins where Jenkins, a lot of people like. I don't think he's good enough to compete with Santos. Santos mixing in that wrestling. He's got great BJJ. And on the feet, he's better as well. With the kicks, he's more dynamic. And obviously, Jenkins, he has that glitch, right, where he can just calf kick anybody. I think Santos is going to be ready for it. He's a guy who switches stances. And if it gets to a point where the leg kicks are too much, he's going to go to the wrestling. I feel like when I look at Jack Jenkins, a little bit one-dimensional, man. A little bit. He likes to box, use his boxing, and use the leg kicks. It's simple. A simple game plan, right? He's not that good of an athlete. I just think Santos is gonna, really hurt this guy. I've really enjoyed what I've seen from Santos, and I can't even believe Yehiza stood through what Santos brought to him because he landed some bombs, and I don't even think Jenkins could stand through that. I think that Santos is live for a finish here. I'm really liking Gabriel Santos. I think he's gonna get this one done pretty easily. So I am going to go with Gabriel Santos via a finish. He's a good fighter, man. Next up, interesting, Jake Matthews taking on Francisco Prado. Now, Francisco Prado was a lightweight, and a small lightweight at that. He's not 5'10", first of all, and you can see the reach. This is a very interesting fight because Francisco Prado's plus 180, and I could see him winning this fight. I really could. Francisco Prado's 22 years old. He's really, really young. And what he brings to the table is powerful striking. In the pocket. He's dangerous as hell. He hits hard. He's durable, right? You can see his head. He's durable as shit. I don't think, Jake Matthews is going to knock him out. Now, Jake Matthews, on the other hand, has been finished before. He has been finished before. And now that I'm looking at this fight, I don't even know who to pick right now. Oh, my goodness. Because Prado, he's dangerous. He's coming off a loss to Daniel Zellhuber, who's a great fighter, right? And he was in there the whole entire time eating shots. He's durable as shit. He beat Ottoman Azaitar, lost to Jamie Malarkey in his debut. I just don't know if I really understand moving up to welterweight. And the reason that I think this fight could be close is because typically when you see Jake Matthews, he's trying to get on the inside of bigger guys, taller guys, and he uses that pocket boxing well. And I do believe that he has a better technique in the pocket, but that's where Prado wants it to be. And the durability of Matthews is a little bit concerning, and I do think that Prado has better durability and he hits harder. The thing that makes me want to sway towards Jake Matthews is the wrestling, because Prado has had issues. When he overextends, he can get taken down, and I don't like the number here. I don't like this right here. I don't like minus 220 on Matthews. I think he's the overall better fighter, but Matthews is a guy who kind of just loses to random people and beats like mediocre people. So I could see him losing this if he doesn't take Prado down. I think he needs to. I think he needs to take Prado down. And if he can't get takedowns, I think Prado can win this fight. But I am going to go with Jake Matthews, not confident whatsoever. And if you're on the Prado side, I completely understand it. Maybe I will put some money on Prado, but overall, man, I got to go with Matthews. I think he's just going to be able to sneak in those takedowns. And I know he doesn't wrestle that often, but he is going to have an advantage there. He's a black belt on the mat. And Prado is actually pretty good from his guard as well. But I think Matthews can control the fight here. It's going to be a car crash of a fight. And I definitely don't count Francisco Prado out by any means. And I think it's close, but I am going to lean towards Matthews in this one by a decision, close decision. I can't even believe this is on the main card. We got Jimmy Crute making the return, taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Ugh, this is a weird one, man. Jimmy Crute coming off a long layoff. Very long layoff. He fought Alonzo Menefield, lost to Alonzo Menefield via guillotine. And Jimmy Crute is an explosive guy. If he can get you to the mat, he's good there. He's got great BJJ. He's got good control on the mat. But his cardio sucks. His body language sucks. His durability isn't good either. And Rodolfo Bellato, who I didn't originally think I was high on, especially after, the Ihor Potieria fight. I was like, this dude sucks, right? He was getting dominated by Ihor. But I go back and watch Rodolfo Bellato, and he's got a suffocating style. He's got solid cardio for a guy this size. He's very good in the clinch with the dirty boxing. He has some solid kicks from the outside. And I definitely can see him weathering the storm here in beating Jimmy Crute. Now, another fight I'm not confident on. There's a lot of questions to be answered. I know Bellato, I believe, is taking this on a little bit short notice. I don't think it's like, a week's notice, right? It's just more of like a 3 weeks notice. I can't remember who Crute was originally supposed to face, but Bellato stepped in. And he's got 5-round experience. He's been 5 rounds, and he can push a pace. Now, Bellato's, durability is not the best either. He's been knocked out by Vitor Petrino twice and knocked out cold one of those times. And he has, been knocked down and almost finished by Ihor Potieria. Jimmy Crute, he can get a submission in the first. But I like what I've seen from Rodolfo Bellato's takedown defense. He's got pretty good sprawls. He's a big, strong dude. And, it's a close fight. And I can understand people on Crute. I don't know what the odds are specifically right now. You got Jimmy Crute plus 135, Bellato minus 155. I wish Bellato kind of was an underdog because I think he almost should be, but I don't know if I can trust Crute, man. I don't like how he's looked recently. I guess not recently. It's been 2 years almost. But I am going to go with Rodolfo Bellato. I like the pace he can push, especially later on. He can break you down, and he's got good cardio, good endurance, good dirty boxing. He might be the better striker here. It's not a fight I'm very excited for personally. But I am going to go with Rodolfo Bellato to win this one via 3rd round TKO. I think he can put Jimmy on the fence and just beat his ass with elbows in the clinch and maybe get a submission, maybe get a knockout in the 3rd. But if he survives the early onslaught, early takedowns of Crute, I do expect him to get this one done. So maybe a live spot. He gets controlled by Crute for the 1st round, then comes back and wins the 3rd. Or wins the 2nd and wins the 3rd. I think that's possible as well. So I am going to go with Rodolfo Bellato to win this one via 3rd round TKO. Next one up. This is an interesting fight, guys. It's one I've had trouble with because Justin Tafa to me should not even be close to a favorite. Or even, I don't know what he's at right now. But I don't think that he should be close. I think that Tallison Teixeira is a monster. Obviously, the guy, you can see he's 6'7". He is huge, okay? My computer's having some issues here. Okay, bear with me here. But Justin Tafa, those guys, I apologize. Those guys don't really do takedown defense, right? They don't really do takedowns and they don't practice it. But Justin Tafa has quick hands and he is dangerous. He hits hard for surely. He's got a big reach disadvantage and a big height disadvantage. And I understand these odds from a certain standpoint because Tallison, obviously the bigger guy, and he hits hard. He's younger and he's dangerous. All of his, fights are ending in the first round via KO, but he is hittable. He can be hit. He can be cracked. And Tafa can knock him out for sure because in his last fight, in his Contender Series fight, Tallison Teixeira got cracked a lot by a guy who's not great and definitely a guy who isn't as sharp as Tafa and hits as hard. And Tallison overextends himself into the pocket sometimes, but if he lands on Tafa, Tafa's going out, right? And if Tafa lands on him, Tallison's going out. But I do believe that Tafa's the more accurate guy. But what sets this fight apart for me and why I said that I believe Tallison should be a bigger favorite is Tallison Teixeira is a black belt on the mat, right? He does not use it often. I think if he uses it here, he gets Justin Tafa to the mat, he can dominate this fight. Absolutely dominate. And that's what most people don't know about this guy is he's a black belt, right? I looked at his Instagram. He's competed in many, many tournaments, winning many jiu-jitsu tournaments. He can do that. And I don't necessarily know if he's going to, so it makes me very, very nervous. Because on the feet, I think he can win. But Tafa's got a better chance to win on the feet, in my opinion. But I think that Tallison, if he just takes him down, he nullifies all of that and dominates this fight. And I think that a lot of people aren't really realizing his ability and how capable he is on the mat. And, obviously, if I'm his coach, I'm telling him just wrestle. But I don't know if he's going to do that. And so that's why it makes the fight hard for me to pick. I am going to go with Tallison Teixeira and maybe sprinkle on the submission possibly. But I think if he just takes Justin Tafa down, it's an easy fight to win. Simple as that. What is Justin Tafa going to do off his back? Nothing. He doesn't have really, any takedown defense, right? I can't remember who was taking him down all the time in his last fight. Oh my gosh, why can't I? Carl something. He's from, I don't know, Carl something. And he was getting taken down all the time. Now Carl Williams, right? And Carl Williams was taking Tafa down all the time. I think if Tallison just can get him in a body lock and drag him to the mat, he dominates this fight. So I am going to go with Tallison. I don't necessarily know if he's going to grapple. I think it'd be very, very smart of him to do that, considering how bad Tafa is on the mat. I am going to go with Tallison, though. I'm going to trust, hopefully he wrestles, and I'm going to be freaking out if he doesn't wrestle, because I think that he holds a massive, massive advantage there. So I am going to go with Tallison Teixeira. Maybe look at the submission line. If it's too much, I'll probably be on it. So I am going to go with Tallison to win this fight via decision. Next up, the co-main event, Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I'm actually kind of excited for this, and that's weird for me to say because I'm not huge on WMMA. But I'm pretty excited. You got, Zhang, who, great fighter, works extremely hard, a very, very capable fighter, very balanced, a great wrestler, a great striker. And she's taking on Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez was pulled out of her last fight versus Verna Jandiroba and put on here to fight Zhang Weili in the main event. And there's some concerns with Tatiana, of course. I mean, a lot of injuries, a lot of long layoffs. But when it comes to her skill set, she is a monster. She's strong. Her chain wrestling is off the chart. Her BJJ is off the chart. And I'm going to pick her to win. I'm going to pick her to beat Zhang Weili. I think she's actually just became the favorite in this fight. And I kind of lean with it, man. I think that Tatiana, her ability to just chain wrestle and just get you in the clinch and drag you down is going to be too much for Zhang Weili. As you can see, she is the favorite, minus 127. And I would frankly have to agree with that. I think that if she's healthy, she's going to go out here and win. Now, there have been concerns about Tatiana Suarez. Maybe her cardio is not in the best spot. But I don't think Zhang Weili's cardio is much better, right? Zhang Weili in her last fight, she was tired. A lot of bad body language in that third round, in the fourth, and she ended up, being able to get Yao Zhan onto the mat. But her cardio hasn't been the best ever, right? Rose Namajunas was able to, win that last fight in the rematch because she was able to get, reverse Wei Li and put Wei Li on her back. I think that Suarez, although she might have some cardio concerns, when she's going to wrestle Wei Li's not just going to be, oh, I'm fresh after getting wrestled. No. I think that Tatiana's going to be able to get her in bad positions, and it's not going to be the first entry on the takedown. It's going to be the second one when Tatiana gets Zhang Weili to the fence, dragging her down, ground and pound. I think she's going to finish Zhang Weili. And I don't know, man. I know a lot of people like Wei Li, and I respect her. She's a great fighter, and she is going to hold the striking advantage, and it would serve her best to be on the pressure immediately. And I don't know necessarily if she's going to do that. She did do that to Carla Esparza, and it worked out pretty well. But this isn't Carla Esparza. This is a different monster in Tatiana Suarez. Stronger than Carla Esparza. Much, much stronger. Better wrestler. And you saw what she did to Esparza. She dominated her every single round. Controlled her for long, long periods of time. And I can see her doing it to Wei Li. I really can. She's strong in the clinch, and I think she takes over this fight with her chain wrestling, with her ability to get Wei Li to the ground, and I think she's live for a TKO. I think she finishes this fight. Inside of 3 rounds, I expect Tatiana Suarez to go out there and finish the fight. Now, if Wei Li can survive, sure, she's got a chance, of course. But I don't think she's going to be in great shape. I don't think she's going to have that good of cardio to push Tatiana Suarez and go get a finish. So I think that Suarez is going to be able to have her way here. And she's big, she's strong in the clinch. I would expect her to win this fight versus Wei Li. And I'm picking Tatiana Suarez via a second round ground and pound KO. The main event, Dricus du Plessis, my boy, taking on Sean Strickland. Now, I didn't break this fight down in a full video, and I apologize. I usually do that. But we got Dricus taking on Strickland. The rematch, a very close fight first time. I'm not thinking it's going to be close this time. I'm thinking that Dricus is going to come out here, put a stamp on that first close fight. Strickland, he's a good fighter. Nothing to take away from him, but he's too one-dimensional. He's very one-dimensional in his approach, right? He does straight or jab, straight, teep, kick. He doesn't turn his hips into any single punch, and that's not a good game plan versus Dricus. You're going to have to hurt the guy for him to stop coming forward and for him to stop pressuring you. And there are holes in Sean Strickland's defense. I want to say that. He obviously does have great defense, great at checking kicks. But there's not going to be much to back off Dricus. There's not going to be anything to back off Dricus, right? If Sean Strickland lands a straight, it's not going to be like Dricus is, I'm just going to go away, you hit too hard. No, right? You don't even see him doing that to Adesanya. Strickland's got great cardio, great endurance, good takedown defense, but it's just the danger of Dricus is going to get this one done. I think that he's live to finish the fight via KO and submission. I think that I'm leaning towards more of a KO. Maybe, a lot of times in that first fight, Dricus was really, really close to landing some of those shots over the top of Sean Strickland and finding that chin very, very close. I think that he can do it here. Now, when he goes inside the pocket, throws a combination, he finishes it with a body kick. He was doing a really good job at that, and it was landing. Obviously, mixing in the takedowns is something great that he does. And, Strickland's a great fighter. He can win this fight for sure, and I do think it's close. Obviously, the odds have du Plessis at -200, and I would frankly agree with that because I think the last DDP looked great against Adesanya. And pushing the pace, just drowning him. And I don't think that Strickland is going to be able to get drowned as bad as, Israel Adesanya did. But I can't deny, man. I think that Dricus is going to catch him with something over the top, hit that chin of Strickland and drop him and hurt him. And maybe wrap up a submission there. But I expect that Dricus is going to get this one done inside the distance. I like the danger of him. You can get a submission with Dricus. You can, finish him on the feet with the awkward style. And that's what makes us different. We've seen Sean Strickland throughout his career. Another guy who's one-dimensional. Sure, he's great at what he does. But he's a guy who doesn't win fights convincingly. He doesn't put a stamp on it and say, oh, I just dominated this dude easily. You saw it with the Paulo Costa fight. It was a split decision. And I don't know if it should have been a split decision. But that just shows you that the guy doesn't do enough to go out there and consistently win rounds because he does the same thing and he doesn't land hard. He doesn't really, I don't know, man. I think that Dricus is going to get it done. I like the volume out of Dricus. I like the mixing in the takedowns. I think he's coming into form here. And I think that Strickland's just not going to be doing enough to win. You know, the jab is going to land. Do I think he's going to out-volume Dricus? Yeah. But that doesn't even matter, right? Because Strickland out-volumes everybody. But Dricus is just coming forward, landing the harder shots, mixing in the kicks, which I think was great, going to the body, going to the head, going up top. And where Strickland leans back, he was getting caught with a couple of those kicks and getting taken down by Dricus. He did a great job. Strickland did of getting up. But I just think the danger of Dricus, the amount of stuff he can do and adjust to win fights is so much more important. Like I said, he can finish you. He can go to a decision with you. He can fight 5 hard rounds with you. It's not just going to be, you know, Strickland, the danger on Strickland, man. There's just nothing to be afraid of. He couldn't finish Sneeko, for God's sakes. He couldn't drop him, a content creator. How was he going to drop Dricus? You know what I mean? I think that Strickland's in a tough spot here. I think that Dricus is going to come out here and dominate Sean Strickland, put him out, finish this fight, and I'm very excited to see Dricus defend his belt for the second time here, and we'll see what's next for him. Maybe Chimaev, maybe Imavov, but Dricus is a great fighter. He's got a ton of heart. He's durable as shit. He's strong. He's got good endurance. He's proven everybody wrong, and I've been right aside my boy, you know, one of my favorite fighters, top 2. Him and Bilal right now are my favorite fighters, man. And everybody's been doubting him, and both of the guys, and that's why I've enjoyed him. And obviously versus Whitaker, he was a big underdog. I hit big on him, my boy Dricus, and I, you know, hit on him ever since then. So he's minus 200. We'll see what I, you know, maybe want to play there. But I am going with Dricus, Duplessis, and Still to defeat Sean Strickland. Look, man, that's going to do it for me. I hope y'all boys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all on the next.